I've been looking for a way to teach the drawing of the torso where it's simple enough and yet kind of full enough. And so here's how I'm going to do it this tonight. Okay. So let's start with just like a pillowcase. Okay. And let's take the pillowcase and we can start to add gesture to this pillowcase. We can do a squash and stretch. Okay. And now we can add to this a little triangle and a little triangle. Okay. And so we're starting to get a little bit of a torso, and we can add one more piece. We can go little boxes for the shoulders. And a box for the neck. Okay, so now to take it further, we're going to introduce a couple of measuring systems. The first one that I want to introduce is just start out by breaking it in half, and then break it into 4. Okay. This is sort of, that point is the end of the rib cage. And this point is the top of the pelvis. And then in here is the abdominal area. Another system and at this point, that's where the pectoralis, that's the pecs. So for right now, to draw the pecs, I'm going to use a shape like this. I'm just using a triangle, a line, and a triangle. Okay. Triangle, line, triangle. Okay. And then I'm going to go a little bit like this. What is this? Okay. And halfway down here is where I want this to go. Okay, so our first measurement system divides this thing. It goes 1/2, okay? The next measurement system, it goes 1/2, okay? Then we go again 1/2, and that's from here to there, okay? In here, halfway between here and here, we can use that for the belly button, okay? Halfway between here and there, we can use the top, the sternal notch right there. Okay, The next measurement system that I want to introduce is a clock-like system. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to take the top of the figure and I want to put a cross contour on it that's round. Okay, and then I'm going to mark 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And this starts orienting me like that, okay? And go like this. Okay. And so we have here this helps us do things like this. Like for instance, on the back of the figure, the side is, this is scapula, and it comes over that way. I can go from here and I can go halfway, and the halfway connects me to my pecs. I can go here, pelvic girdle, here, halfway. Okay, and that also makes it so that I can I could rotate things if I wanted to. Like for instance, I could go and I could say, what if I wanted to put my 6 o'clock here and my 6 o'clock here, but I wanted to put my other 6 o'clock there, and then I could go like that. Or and so you start to get the next necessary kind of torsion of the torso. It starts to twist on itself. So I want to use this system, and one of the things that I want to do is I want to do a little bit of a deep dive into some of the anatomy. Like I want to look at some of the anatomy, okay? So let's start out with the shoulder girdle, okay? And I want to start out with this. Okay, so let's just say that's just a sort of a starting point. It starts creating some perspective on the figure. Okay. So in the skeleton, right here is the sternum. And for right now, we're going to really, I mean, maybe for all we do, we're just going to, I just want you to know that there's this big bone and it's right here. Okay. And notice the perspective on it. Okay. So you could just take any of these. We could just say, okay, here's the sternum. Okay. It's really interesting where with the sternum and the rib cage. So the rib cage is frequently described as kind of egg-like. You know, you have this like kind of, you have this thing like this, okay, where it's kind of egg-like. And that egg structure, it lives deep inside. It's covered by a lot of flesh and bone and muscle, okay? So sometimes when you're taught to draw the figure and you're taught to put an egg up top, it can feel like, how do you get the shoulders and the neck and all that kind of stuff? Like all of this egg is in here, like this, okay? There's this beautiful bit of design on the rib cage. A thing I think is really beautiful is, you see this right here? You have this upward tilt like this, and there's this plane right here, and it almost has this kind of, it's like an upside down Y. It's almost like we could turn it upside down. It would look kind of tree-like, this inner plane. You see right there how I've just sort of flipped that over. Okay, so we have this plane right here. And what's going on is the ribs come around and the sternum is in here, and they turn at that point. They turn inward and connect to the sternum at that point. Anyway, it's just a cool bit of design. Okay. Another bone that we have to talk about up here. So here's the rib cage. Here's the rib cage in profile. Okay. Now, another bone that we'll talk about is the scapula. And the scapula is shaped like this. Like here, if we have the back of the figure right here. The first relationship, the first understanding of the scapula, here's the center line of the back of the figure. The first understanding of the scapula is like this. It's kind of a triangle. Maybe a little bit more of like a, I think sometimes it's called a spade. Okay. And out here, there's a turning, there's a connection for the bone. There's a connection for the humerus right there, okay? So if we're thinking of a figure from the back, you could really simplify it. You could be like, okay, here's my figure from the back. And you could say, here's the center line, and here's a triangle, and here's a triangle, okay? And then if you just know this one piece, like let's say, here's the figure, and let's say they're raising their arm. The triangle follows the arm, okay? And I'll put this arm up too, for like victory pose. Okay. Now, another part that's really cool on the scapula is here. From here, there's this part really flattens and there's this bone that goes around to the front like this. It is a ridge, and it goes around like that. Okay? And this part goes from the back of the figure to the front of the figure. It starts here, and it's like, we can just like call it a bowl for right now. We'll just say like, it's just like that. Okay? And it just comes around the front and connects. So it starts from here, and it comes out and around the front and connects. And this will become easier to understand when we draw it in the round. Okay, so here you have the scapula, and the place where, let's say that's the spine. Let's say that's the 6 o'clock, that's the 12 o'clock, okay? We'll say this is the 9 o'clock, and that's the 3 o'clock. So this out here is kind of squared. It's kind of like that, okay? Then that rounds over and goes down behind, from this angle, what will be behind these shoulder blades. And these guys are going behind. Okay, so this is up against the rib cage here. So you have these guys, they give us this corner, okay? And it's coming forward. And from that corner, I guess the essential thing that I want for you to recognize is that the body, if we're looking down on the body, let's say we're going to look straight down on the body, it's going to look something like this. That's the spine. That's the top of the rib cage, okay? Sitting here, this is where the scapula is from looking down, and it comes all the way over and forms this piece right here. Like that. And then what happens is on the front, you see here, you see this plane is maintained on the front. The clavicle goes to there. This is the spine. So when we're looking at a figure like this, okay, so right here, if we want to kind of find this, the place we're going to find it is like right here, okay? And then it's going to be ending, and this is where the clavicle, here's my circle, here's my 6 o'clock, here's my 6 o'clock, okay? So it goes like this. And it's sitting inside the shoulder like that. Okay. In this instance, you see the 6 o'clock, and there it is sitting inside the shoulder, right like that. And in the back of the body, the 7th cervical vertebrae is right there. And then the neck attaches in here like this, and it comes up like this. The neck has a flat back, and really there's a kind of a triangular front right in here. Okay. The clavicle is shaped like, if we look at it from on top, sometimes it's described as like handlebars. And here there's these round parts, and here there's square. Okay. And if you're drawing it in perspective, you can do like this. Okay, the clavicle is in here. So here's how you'd use it in a drawing. Center line, clavicle, center line, side, side. Now connecting to the clavicle is the deltoid right here. It connects about there. Okay. On the front, it looks like this. It's got 3 muscles, 1, 2, and 1 on the back. And it comes over like that. Okay. Here's the deltoid. the pectoralis right in here. And it does this cool thing where it goes like this. It goes one part from up here, kind of connects down this way. And then this whole chunk in the middle goes up like that. And then this part on the edge goes up even further. It goes like this. And so you get these overlaps in the muscle. But you never really see those. Those are all, softened out by fat and stuff like that. They're here. Here's the top one, the middle one, and the bottom one connecting up this way. And so in total, you get this great rounding of form. And there's this little space between the deltoid and the pectoralis. Okay, so let's consider the figure from the back. Here's halfway. Here's the other half. So we've got these 3 triangles and a diamond. Okay, that's the 7 cervical vertebrae, scapula, and sacrum. And a center line. And we'll start out, we're just going to add hips. Okay, so we'll start out just arranging that. Okay, so can add this little triangle up top. Shoulders, these boxes. Just going to add a box and a box. I'll kind of get us started. Okay. 7 cervical vertebrae. Here's halfway on the back, right about there. And that's where you're going to run into the iliac spine. So here's halfway. And these come in like this. So you have these strong bony landmarks like that. They go like this. And this space in here, that's the oblique. So you have like a muscle sitting on there. Okay. Okay. So here's our basic arrangement. And then we'll get more in detail with our specific parts. But this gets us a good start, okay? I want to say some bodies are more narrow up top. You know, sometimes bodies are like this and they're more wide below. So altering those proportions can help you design like a lot of different kinds of characters. Okay. I want to talk about some of the muscles of the back. Okay. So one of the muscles of the back, obviously the scapula has muscles associated with it. And here's on the arm, the triceps. And what happens is the deltoid connects along the edge of that piece that wrapped around, connects all along here and runs over this edge like this. So it's like all through there, and then this is that middle section. Okay, and it wraps around the triceps like that. And the triceps go up and they connect on, one of them connects here and the other one connects here. So they sort of split apart when they go underneath the skin. But the volume that we really want to focus on is we really want to focus on this deltoid. And the way you want to focus on it is it starts kind of here. Okay. And it goes up and wraps around the front, and it comes over and it drops down, and it kind of has this like, kind of like a hawk head. Like it kind of like, you can imagine that would be like the humerus, but you can see like this hawk head in here. It's kind of like a bird head or something like that. And then the just below it, triceps. And for the triceps, what I'm using is a shape almost like an upside down heart. And then I've got that. So that's the deltoid. And on the front of the body, you see the deltoid here. Here's the deltoid. Here's the deltoid. Over and around and connecting over the head of the bicep, okay? Okay, so now connecting all through in here, see this shape right here? That's the trapezius. Right up in here, and it goes around the 7 cervical vertebrae, and it comes down and it attaches to these edges. It's a little muscle like this in here, and it comes up and it splits behind the head. Okay. And it's a little more complicated from the front view. It's kind of interesting and beautiful from the front view. Okay, so if we just take a figure, and here's the trapezius, and here's my shoulders, and here's where it connects on the front view. It connects on top of the clavicle, like right to here. And here's the neck going up, and it wraps around and connects to the back of the neck like that. Okay. These are the sternocleidomastoid muscles connecting from the sternum. Okay. Now, on top of this, on top of the scapula, we have 1 and then 2. There's 4 muscles, 3, and then the 4th muscle goes underneath the trap. So this one right here goes underneath the trapezius. And when you see this drawn by really good artists, what you see is you see the body goes, you have a body like this, and the deltoid, it's a singular volume. It's kind of going like this, right? And so we could shade the side of it, kind of like that. Broken into 2. Okay. And because this arm is turning upwards, what we're going to have is we have the scapula is going to be turned a little bit in this instance. And it goes a little higher here. And there's this muscle that goes in this way and another set of muscles that go this way. And these ones overlap this, and this one underlaps it. And this is another like main volume that has like a few parts. However, we can like what would emphasize the overall shape of the volume. And a top. So it's almost like you could think of the muscles in here as forming this kind of shape. Okay. The next one I want to talk about is the lat, and that's right here. And it ends down here. Okay. So that's this. And it's a little bit wine glass shaped. And it overlaps just the bottom tips. It comes this way, and it overlaps just the bottom tips of these guys. Right like that. Okay. Now connecting to along this edge, okay, and running along here, what we'll run into is the obliques. So the obliques are kind of going, they live on the front, on the back, they come up and connect up along the rib cage. And you have here what's called erector spinae muscles. And on the front view, it works like this. Okay, so you'll see the lat like that, okay? And your ribs come down like this to this line, okay? The middle of the front, you see how the middle here, we have that. The middle of the front, we have the abdominal muscles. And the abdominal muscles connect up in here. You get this big volume up in here on a really fit person. And these guys, the top one can be kind of long, and then it's a little shorter for the middle one, and then this one. And then the other thing is this muscle is at the top of it, it's like that. And then as you go down, it becomes, the line goes like this, and then like that, and then like that. And that's the six pack. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then these down here, they don't count. Okay. And then through here, connecting on, you'll remember from here halfway down, that's where you have your iliac spine right here. The top of your pelvis is right here. And what happens is the lats connect up this way to the rib cage. Not the lats, I'm sorry, the obliques connect up that way to the rib cage, okay? So on the back here, the lat comes into and connects to the arm muscle, okay? But it comes that way. And then here, along the pelvis, it goes up into the ribs. Okay, the last muscle that I want to talk about are the serrated muscles. And okay. This kind of got sloppy in here. I'm sorry about that. So the serrated muscles coming this way. And the obliques are coming up this way. And you see these guys locking in with each other. Okay. And the next one we'll do the pelvis. Okay, it's kind of a lot for one day, but I hope it works as a good review.